I just wanted to come and say hello. I'm with Anchor Free, co-founder of Anchor Free. Basically, we're the largest Wi-Fi ad network. So we partner with Wi-Fi operators worldwide. Right now, actually, most of the national level, about 6,000 different locations around the U.S. Airports, hotels, coffee shops, through various operators that partner with us. And we target ads, and obviously very local because we know the location right the street level. Yeah, we're really interested with not only real estate.
We'll start the next session in 5 minutes. Please. We'd like to introduce this session. This is the iHollywood demo session. We received submissions from many promising companies, and we had a panel of judges who selected about 6 companies today that have some very compelling cutting-edge technology in mobile, some of which you may see for the first time. We have a distinguished panel of judges here who are going to introduce themselves in just a moment. We've done this event a few times, and we've now discovered a way to make it fun, especially fitting the night of the American Idol finals. So we do a little bit mobile idol style. What we do is each speaker comes up and speaks for 5 minutes, and then the panel can say their comments, and then we don't make anybody sing. And then when the panel is done, we go on to the next one. At the end of the time, you are going to have a chance to vote. And what we do is we give you each $1 million, and you can vote for which company you would fund if you were in that position. And the winner will receive the Best of Show award. Now, we normally do this using SMS messaging, and we're trying right now, there are some server issues today to make sure we get the server up to do it through SMS. So if we can, you'll be voting American Idol through SMS, and if we can't get that to work, then we'll vote the old-fashioned way. So I'd like to begin by introducing our panelists. We'll start with John Michael Perkowski. If you could please introduce yourselves, go down the row, who you are, what you've been doing, what you're doing now.
Hi, everybody. I'm John Bukowski. Been in the mobile space for quite a long time, was part of PWS Moviso, then was part of the executive team of MCube that we sold to VeriSign last year, and now I have basic private consulting and early stage funding company. And what I'm doing today is kind of looking at what the companies have to offer, and we're always looking for new companies to invest in.
Hi, I'm Michelle Law. I'm with a venture capital firm called Greylock Partners up in San Mateo, California. I've been with Greylock for a little over 6 years. I cover both the mobile and consumer space. Some of our investments in mobile include 7 networks, and in the consumer space include Facebook, LinkedIn, and Dig. Always interested in sort of new mobile companies and models. I think the space is still very promising.
Hi, Chris Brunner from Univision Communications. I'm the Vice President of Mobile Content and Services. Prior to that, I was on executive team at a company called Single Touch, and before that with Qualcomm in the mobile brew division.
My name is Rich Wong. I'm at Excel Partners, and before that I spent 6 years at Wave Systems, which does a lot of mobile stuff.
Great. All right, so our first presenter today, we're going to go in alphabetical order, is going to be Michael Mack, CEO of Bcode.
Thank you. I'm very glad to be here. Firstly, I apologize for distracting everybody with that pink glow, and it was intentional, and hopefully in a few minutes you understand why. Okay, what is Bcode about? James, do you mind? What we've invented is a method to turn anything that's in your wallet right now into a string of zeros and ones, and to be able to wirelessly transmit that to your cell phone, and then scan that and authenticate it automatically. So that's what Bcode is. There are other technologies that can do the same things, like an RFID chip or a barcode. As of today, the next available technology by a whopping 40% in reliability. We cover 3 billion handsets in the market using simple text messaging based encoding. And we cover iPods, we cover Blackberries, we cover Palms, anything that can display 3 lines of text. We can encrypt anything in your wallet in there and send it there and scan it. In a few years, devices will have an RFID chip, and our current device that you see there over there already scans this RFID chip. So we'll be the only guys that can do 99% plus in the next 5 years, and after 5 years, we're already future-proof. Now, that's only the first part of the invention. Just by digitizing something into zeros and ones can take a lot of lines away, can take a lot of paper, save a lot of trees. But there's a second part to the whole story. If you've been listening to all the previous, you realize that there is a digital media and content and application and mobile application revolution that's taking place. In general, you look at history, zeros and ones, with information, likes to be liberated. Wherever it can be liberated, it will be liberated. So what we're trying to enable is these applications and content to become available everywhere. The box just over there with the pink glow is actually a mobile computer that is 3G connected. So it can be embedded to any kind of place on the planet, whether it's a retailer, whether it's an aeroplane, basically anywhere. And that pink glow recognizes your identity. So it's a piece of device or technology that can exchange content with your phone. They can exchange applications to your phone. You can download content to your phone, all through the 3G networks that have been rolled out recently on an international basis. And it uses the pink glow to identify who you are. James, please. Now, who is Bcode? We are venture-backed with 2 Australian VCs who are actually 3 minutes. Okay. Yep, you can read the rest of the slides. What we've used with the funding, we have spent the $5 million building the device and getting pilots, and also our first commercial deployment last week. If you Google Bcode, you see that there was a little article about how an Australian company, a startup, with a tiny amount of VC managed to build a complete mobile ticketing system and deploy that to CB in Australia recently, and broke the world record in being the largest mobile ticketing event, and eliminated all the lines from the check-in queue. James? Okay, now you're thinking, what are all those logos doing up there? They are not my customers. So, what they are they're companies, global brands that have undertaken commercial pilots in one of the applications there on the left. So those are my potential targets. What the industry defined for me and for Bcode is a bunch of applications where my technology can be useful, from loyalty to couponing to ticketing, et cetera, et cetera. I just want to note that mobile advertising has an interesting angle to it. It's not just like the internet, where it's a new media mix trying to squeeze itself into 100%. And right now, internet is up to 7%, someone was saying earlier. The great thing about mobile is that it actually enable people to sell, retailers to sell products in the physical world. So close the loop for the other 93% of advertising dollars. So we don't think that mobile will take us long to get to a certain critical mass, because it's not a new screen. It actually adds value to the existing screens that have advertising on them. Next one, please. How does it work? We have a backend service that can encode any number of digits or credit card numbers, coupons into the Bcode that you might have seen earlier in a slide. We transmit that as a message over the SSH7 network that's deployed globally. Our device scans it. We go through the internet via 3G, and then we can deliver applications that are personalized, context-sensitive, location-based to these devices. One more. Please excuse me for the cheesiest clip art you can possibly find. I got an email from Elizabeth on Friday saying that if you don't get this to me in the next five minutes, you're going to miss out. So I just go click, 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 and that's what I found. Okay, so how do we generate value for industries and for my investors? In the next 12 months, I'm going to have 1,000 of these things roaming around the US across a number of ticketing and couponing applications, basically trying to get market adoption. Okay, my time's up. So I'm going to use my last second to scan one of these things.
That is tough.
Please stand up. I have a code in my hand, and then just a single. And when I scan it, a ticket comes up, and I can click View Trailer, and over the 3G network, content being pumped down, I can click it, and get down to my phone. So thank you very much.
To gong us. Nice.
I don't know what to say.
Don't know what to say. I'm kind of stumped with the gong thing going on. The idea is brilliant, right? From a standpoint in the market the last 5 years, everybody's been concentrating on putting an actual barcode on a handset, and he's kind of broken that down and shown something that's actually very simplistic that applies to everything that we're doing, from content to ticketing to m-commerce. So I like it.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've seen a sort of mobile couponing types of applications, and a majority suffer from the problem of point of sale and being able to actually redeem the coupon. Most of the retailers don't have the ability to scan a 2-inch phone screen, or at least the resolution isn't high enough where they can do it accurately. And so this seems like it could potentially solve that problem. I would suggest that you got to find sort of that killer first application where you can get these things in distribution, because I think that's going to be the biggest challenge.
Where did he go? Where's Michael? Can we ask him questions, or? I just wanted to, there's a lot going on in just a very few minutes here, but what's, in terms of your primary business model, is there, I think it was what you were talking about, like your killer application, what is the primary focus of the business? Is it the ad revenue, is it couponing, is it ticketing, is it media, content? Where's your focus on that?
Right now, we're focused on ticketing because that's, across the world, there's been more than 30 or 40 different pilots. It's been run. We cut queues with the cheapest unit. We compared to airline check-in kiosks, which is an existing model that's been proven. We're a lot smaller in the same space that you can fit in one kiosk. We can fit in 10 of my things, and we're 1/10 the cost. So we're focusing on ticketing business to get consumer adoption, and after which we are focusing on the business model, which I didn't get time to explain, which is shipping boxes and a set of APIs. So you can do whatever you want with it, whether you want to transfer money to Mexico, you want to run a coupon campaign, we'll ship your boxes and we'll charge you a click, and you can develop the rest. So we're like a double click, but for the physical world. So that's the answer.
Okay, good. And then the other thing is, does it require that box be installed, or as you said, the API, right? So could a typical ATM machine or something like that eventually install this kind of software, or ticketing at like at an airport, have those ticketing stations?
It needs to have that $10 camera so that it can scan a phone.
But they could install that.
If they put the $10 camera in there, I have 1 meg of code that fits on the floppy disk.
Okay.
Yeah, my simple comment was, I think it's a really interesting idea. I mean, the QR codes have really worked in certain parts of the world, specifically Korea and Japan, where there's been a large economy built around them. I think we're all probably on a similar theme that, man, if you have to get those boxes installed yourself all over the world, we're all going to be pretty old by the time that happens. So if there's a way you could actually API that out to have somebody else do that work and then use sort of a generic API to access that and scale, I think that'll help you get traction faster.
Yeah, thank you.
And the next presenter is Mark Miller of Famous Frames Mobile Interactive.
Can we start the video, please? We are Famous Frames Mobile Interactive, FFMI for short. We are a digital media studio with the capabilities to produce and acquire original graphic content of all kinds. And utilizing our own content delivery platform, which we call the Engine, provide multiple channels of digital distribution. The bulk of our content is drawn from the deep talent roster of Famous Frames, the country's largest storyboard agency for the past 20 years. These ad agencies, film studios, production companies, and theme parks are all clients from the past year. The movies you'll recognize. Our artists work with the in-house animators of Famous Frames Digital and South Korean animation special effects powerhouse Morph Studio Digispot. The images speak for themselves. Among the projects we have in development is the new Three Stooges. That's right, FFMI has the exclusive digital rights to these legendary, still marketable Hollywood icons with worldwide brand recognition. Now featured in CGI animation, 3D Stooges, our first episode, The Great Debate, premieres this summer, just in time for campaign season.
In a world torn apart by greed and chaos, one man...
5 freakish felons have only one thing standing between them and global domination. That's each other. Stan Lee, the creator of Spider-Man, the Hulk, Fantastic Four, lends us his creative and voiceover talents in Masterminds. Another original FFMI production is Cyber Racers. They're racing to save mankind. Episode 1 is 30 minutes and offered in 3-minute mobisodes. Cyber Racers will also be delivered as a feature film.
1 billion people watch, and they will be watching you.
For years, our artists have rendered the cinematic visions of the industry's top directors, studios, and game development shops. FFMI now allows creative talent to step out from the shadows and get the recognition they deserve. The results are impressive. For that special someone, send them the bird, Rudy the Rude Rooster. Endearingly dysfunctional and an orthodontist's dream, Guy Henry. Like many FFMI properties, it's packaged with mobile game tie-ins, ringtones, and assorted merchandise. Vegetarians are safe in this animated graphic novel.
Your presentation won't turn many heads in Washington, Mr. Kroc, but I'll see what my influence can do.
Our roster and reputation guarantees a steady supply of original, quality material.
You seek adventure. You seek mystery.
What makes FFMI an exceptional new Hollywood studio is our ability to distribute our own content. FFMI and its strategic partner M-Channel formed a joint venture with award-winning Bayshore Solutions to build NGen as a next-generation delivery network, putting the consumer in control to get what they want, anywhere and any way they want it. In broadband, FFMI offers optimized widescreen viewing with an array of special features. Think one-to-one marketing. Our short code is one-to-one. That's mobile for one-to-one, one-to-one marketing, one-to-one entertainment. In addition to powering FFMI, NGen can be licensed to third parties interested in business-to-business, direct-to-consumer, and peer-to-peer marketing. The possibilities are endless. We can also offer our production services to content partners. Let us build you your own branded online theater. The NGen digital dashboard enables content owners to deliver their creative assets, monitor traffic, downloads, and audience response through a range of metrics. FFMI is designed as an artist entertainment community. We're building a Web 2.0 presence and our brand identity. Famous M, our mobile interactive magazine. Famous Store, our virtual online marketplace. Famous Space and Get Famous, where talent can showcase their artwork for peer-to-peer evaluation, interaction, and maybe fame and fortune. When we started FFMI in 2004, many people thought we were crazy. We were told nobody wants to watch graphic content on mobile devices. Well, that vision is fast becoming a reality. This is an exciting time in our society and the mobile entertainment industry, and FFMI is proud to be a part of it. Thank you.
Ready, the gonger? I think there's a longer discussion that I would actually like to have with you. I saw 3 different business models. I saw a direct-to-consumer play, a software play, and a professional services play. It's a lot to bite off, and hopefully you've been in business a while to understand that they're all incredibly different. On the other side, on your NGen, the content distribution platform, is that fundamentally your off-deck play, or is you going to be doing more stuff directly with the carrier side?
We're not allowed to ask questions.
Okay, so third-party distribution as well? Yes. Okay. Oh, no, I sit here all day. Content side is something I know pretty well. And on the direct-to-consumer within video, a lot of the carriers are going to an ad-supported model where it's basically going to be kind of an all-you-can-eat type of appetite. Have you guys thought about that moving forward as well?
Yes, we have.
Can you go into that real quick?
Our design right now is download feeds, ship fees, but as we get established, advertising and sponsorship would eventually take over.
Most definitely.
I think content is always really interesting, especially it seems like you have a very specific sort of niche you're going after. And I kind of like the ability for you to sort of encourage people to contribute to content to your platform. In a sense that's sort of, something that brings differentiation to your platform. I think sort of what distribution model makes the most sense for you and can bring in the most revenue over time. Because it's unclear to me sort of if you want to go direct to the carriers, if you're big enough to actually for them to care, or maybe you just want to go off deck.
Well, that's one reason we decided to build our own distribution platform as a starting step.
That makes sense.
I think it's pretty impressive. I see a lot of these kind of content plays today, and it seems like you guys are ahead of the curve of a lot of ideas out there, but you guys are certainly much past the idea stage and doing some good development. When you look, it seems to me like you got the mobile play, you've got the broadband play. In terms of your revenues, are you expecting year one to be? How do you expect year one revenues to break out? Is it, given that you don't, getting traffic to the website, getting distribution with mobile operators and off deck, all those are individually difficult to accomplish. But how do you see the revenues coming in year one and two?
Well, I feel that as long as we can continue to produce everything in-house with our own digital platform and keep the overhead down, which we have, I expect to actually profit within year one. Mm-hmm. And of course, the industry standard is still evolving.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I would agree. I think it's very cool. I think it's very impressive what you developed. And I think, we've always talked about throughout the day how new media types, create new media, new content types, and, potentially you could become that. I think that's really interesting. I think the focus comment is pivotal, right? For all the animation studios out there was only one Pixar. And
that's correct.
And I think they focused in a very specific way and understood what their technology advantage was, and were able to actually redefine animation to a new format, is my layman's interpretation. And I think you could have the opportunity to do that if you focus, though, is my sense.
Well, thank you.
Hi, I'm Jason Tebow, the co-founder and CTO of GoWare. Our company mission is to provide solutions for end users that enable the delivery of any content to any device over any network. What I'm going to run over here and show you is our software application, Domo homepage, that enables a user to create their own customized, personalized mobile portal of all their own content delivered to them to their mobile browser. All right, so what you see on the screen here is our software, Domo homepage, that anybody can download from our website, domohomepage.com. What I'm going to show you is the process by which a user would go through to create their very own personalized, customized mobile portal. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a category here. And to make this fast, I'm going to select a pre-populated category. We've already included lots of categories that provide users some of the great content out on their web. So I'm going to pick business. Maybe I'll pick, I don't even want that. Business news. We'll pick RSS feed from Yahoo and maybe something from Computer World. I'll click the Add Category button. Domo homepage will then go out, capture that content, and put it into the structure of my mobile portal that you see over here on the right now. Now, to make it customized and personalized, I'm going to tell Domo homepage exactly what phone make and model I have. So here I've picked the HTC. I'm actually going to pick, I'll pick a Palm, and then I'll come here and I'll pick the Palm 700. And now Domo will tell me what templates are available to me. Here I've got a graphical template that's built exactly for my screen size. I'll tell you what, I'm going to take that one. Domo's going to download it, and now I'm able to generate out my portal. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click the Generate Portal button. Domo is then going to build my portal out so that I can actually access it from the web from my mobile browser. Wait a couple minutes here, but we'll see now it's generated. And the last thing I have to do as a user is I have to synchronize my portal. So now what I'm doing is pushing my portal up to our servers, which is all part of Domo platform architecture. And now I've got a mobile portal that's out there that I can use. Just to show you what it looks like, here is a rendered version of the portal, which would look exactly like it does on my phone. A user would simply go to a special website, enter their username and password, and up would come their mobile portal. Now, what's really fantastic about this is the way we've extended this process of creating customized, personalized mobile web experience to socialization. So if a user comes in here and I really like the idea of having a public portal. I want to share this portal with all of my friends. So I come back into the software and I check business news and I give it a title. So say I call it business. Oops, I got a space in there. I've got a category topic. Maybe I'll pick entertainment. Sorry, we haven't added all our category topics yet. Some keywords, of course, and some other keywords. And I'll save my changes here. And what Domo will do then is Domo will then create a public portal that will synchronize up to our server to our community site here. So we've actually created a community of which other users can look at, rank, and bookmark public portals so that they can access them when they're out and about. So they don't even have to create a portal for themselves. They simply have to go out and find the portal that has all that cool content in there that represents their best interests. So what's our model? What's our business model? How do we make money? Obviously, the Domo homepage software is free. That's the idea. It's free to be white labeled. Of course, we want to integrate it with developers and content owners. The ultimate goal is to create the largest pool of users we can so that we can push relevant, targeted advertising into a user's content. And why is that going to work? Precisely because it's the user who owns this mobile web experience. It's not something that their carrier is giving to them. It's not something that they're hoping a website operator has customized to their phone. This is something they've created. They make it look the way they want it. When I click here, this is my template that I've chosen. This is my content that I've picked. The ads in here are relevant to me. They're all based on an analysis of behavior that is spent in building and interacting with and using the mobile portal. And that is the simplicity of our software. We make it easy for the user. We want the user to, and I'm going to pass through this, we want the user to be able to create a truly personalized mobile web experience. And of course, our distribution model is not about direct to the consumer. This is a demonstration of what the Domo platform can do. Our distribution model is to go after the owners of users. So we're talking right now to carriers, talking to a lot of carriers. We're talking to a lot of application owners, and we're talking to a lot of people about giving them this software to integrate into their offering and extend their brand, their value, and their message to the mobile channel. Thank you very much, and hum a couple of bars. Vote for GoWare. Come on, American Idol, come on, give me some cheers.
God, I don't know how to follow that. It's very cool. Effectively, you're changing a lot of the UI on someone's handset, correct?
Yeah, it's all browser-based, so we're really after screen resolution and browser support. Ultimately, we allow the user through our plugin system to load up any content they want into their mobile browser.
So that brings another call, content. What do you call content? Stuff that people have already put on their handset, or are you going to upsell content to it?
We call content anything that a user consumes. So a user consumes a Word doc on their PC, they consume contacts in Microsoft Outlook, they consume RSS feeds, they consume videos on YouTube, they consume their data through MySpace. So we've created a plugin system that allows a connection to virtually any content source.
Okay. Okay.
I think the general space is really interesting. There's no reason why when you buy a phone that you should be satisfied, or you should sort of what Motorola or Nokia gives you, especially with the variety of content available out there today. I would suggest that, going through this demonstration was interesting, but I would say 90% of the population probably won't go through that.
Totally agree.
And so you might want to think about pre-populating certain formats with certain content verticals that might interest people so that they can just get on the ramp really easily.
It's really funny you say that, because our next version has out-of-the-can portals as well as setup wizards where you can through in 30 seconds and have a portal.
Yeah, and so you might want to just think about sort of things that are just default for areas of interest, and then if they want to go
Exactly.
through the effort of customizing them more, they could go through that.
And that's part of where the public portals come in. So if you really don't want to create your own portal, you simply go to the community site or our domohomepage.mobi site,
Right.
find some portals, bookmark them, and now you have an absolutely really large breadth of content available to you
Yeah.
that all other people have created.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have a ton of questions, but I know I'll get dinged. I guess the most important one to me would be that I feel like the mobile web has struggled for the better part of the last 7, 8, 9 years, whatever it's been. Even this Web 2.0 that everybody's been pushing. I mean, we're starting to see some traction. It seems like it's a difficult area to jump into and monetize in the near future. I mean, there's big carriers that have a relatively mobile web audience that they can't monetize. We have one that we're struggling monetizing. So it's just, I think the larger issue for me would just be, it's cool. Does a consumer get it? Number one, and then the feasibility of monetizing. And so it's neat, but I think you've got some issues ahead of you with.
Actually, I can address those offline.
Okay.
But we do have answers for all of those.
Okay, good.
Hey, Jason.
Hey, Richard.
How are you? So I think you're making progress. I mean, certainly since our last conversation, I think it's really come along. I think, there's the two. So I think it continues to be highly interesting. I think the two things that highlight yet again is Michelle's comment around. I think we all design stuff because we're sort of geeks and we kind of like the coolness of things and pull up and pull down menus of every handset in the world, but vast majority of users in the world won't use it. So that simplification has to occur. Yes. Second, as as I'm sure you've played around with, you got a handset availability, usability question, right? Of J2ME and going to dig it out of the versus OpenOS phones we can provision on the top deck, right? And so I think you're gonna have to figure out, are you gonna have to try to be successful in being deeply rich in OpenOS phones where you can, the API tool set is rich enough you can get to the top deck, or you're really gonna try to be broad scale J2ME across many phones, because those are different models.
Right. Well, the nice thing is that it's platform independent because it's all browser based, and we are aiming for Ajax and flashlight implementations because we want to take advantage of those really awesome features.
And my caution to you, I think, is technically it's from a user experience, it's not, and how you monetize it's not in the short term. You can eventually do it all, but realistically, I think you're going to do 1 or 1.5 well in the near term, and that's the
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Nice.
Fredericks. I'm a new media content producer. What I've done is I've created a site called iClips, and iClips is a social network of extreme sport enthusiasts. What makes iClips unique is that the content is owned and created and produced by my company, and this is done through a series of events that we own across the United States. We produce 30 extreme sporting events, we shoot them, we edit them, and then we created this site. The site has showed a 30% growth rate since we launched it in June. We're up to right now 1 million video views and 500,000 subscribers and 200,000 downloads. The idea was to create RSS feeds of individual extreme sports. Extreme sports is, as you know, a certain demographic that all media is currently looking for. It represents users 13 to 25 years old. What we found is that the extreme sports is not just a sport, it is a lifestyle for this group. It encompasses their music, their fashion, and their web use. So what we did was, by creating these RSS feeds, instead of having one podcast like some of you are familiar with, or one video podcast, we created 20 video podcasts. So we have the iClips site has 20 individual RSS feeds that allows the subscriber to either subscribe through iTunes or Google or Yahoo or their preferred server is, and then get this content. What makes it self-generating is that the events actually promote the website promotes the events, and now that the industry is heading into sponsor-generated revenues through this content, we're already in a position to offer that. Additionally to the site itself, we are also aggregating content to other sites and other servers. So the form is distribution, and that's done through revenue shares, that's done through actual buyouts, that's done through being able to place our content on someone else's server. So what we're doing now is we have a system in place to create content. We have a system in place that the user can come and be part of a social site. Additionally, on the iClips site, the user himself can upload his own video clips from these events. But the events themselves are social. So what happens, we are creating professional content that is user-generated, because extreme sports and 13 to 25-year-olds are really creating their own world, their own lifestyle, their own sports. So what we've done now is we've made this, again, available to the user to come directly to our site, watch an event. We either do them live on demand, we do them video on demand, we do them live, we can stream live from our locations, video on demand, so the user, the kids, they can watch it, they can download it, they can put it on their iPod. What's great about the iPod is there's 7 million video iPods out right now, and if we've done 200,000 downloads, we know the iPhone comes out tomorrow or the next day, and that, you know, Apple is expecting 10 million units in the first quarter. So we make it very easy and very simple for the kids to download to the iPod format. So now what happens is we also have a site that they can come to. We have a site that we can aggregate content to other producers, other servers, and additionally to their content. Currently, right now, we are providing content through partnerships, through acquisitions, and through actual buyouts to Universal Studios, HBO, Google, YouTube, Crown. We have a strategic partner in showbusiness.com. They're here with me today. They're building out our social networking site that will allow the kids to be more involved with our actual production. And we're also working very closely with the Morocco advertising agency to bring in sponsorships to the video clips and to the events that are associated with them. And that is what iClips is.
If you have a kid that's an enthusiast of surfing or whatever, and I'm, you know, at the surf competition, can I contribute my video back to your site, or is it really more about receiving versus contributing?
What we found is that by creating the professional content, we're attracting that user. However, iClips has a sister called MyClips, M-I-C-L-I-P-S, where the user can then upload their own videos. And what we are doing is, once we have our show business site built out, we will be having contests once a month that will allow our users. Actually, I finished talking before that. They were asking me questions. Okay. So I was done. Yeah, all right. So, okay.
We're pretty sensitive.
So what we're doing is we're allowing the user to upload content. We will have a contest once a month, and then we'll pick from that content a contributor to our television properties, because we produce television programming that airs across around the world through Sandra Carter. So, you know, we're going to encompass it all together. It's a full circle. iClips, like I said, through the events, we create the events create the content, the events themselves promote the site shows the video on the site promotes the events, and we just feed ourselves. We have 4 crews that are out every single weekend, every single week, 52 weeks a year. I'm sitting on top of close to 1,000 hours of finished 90-second segments that we upload, close to 50 clips a week, to keep our content fresh, because as we all know, the kids are eating this stuff up. It's 90 seconds gone, they want another 90 seconds, they want another 90 seconds. So we're trying to kick it out as quickly as we can.
So buyout licensing is the primary model, or?
Pardon?
Licensing essentially downstream to other producers is the primary model. How do you make money?
No, we're going to go with what I think the industry is headed towards, advertising supported content. I mean, if you're looking at our downloads right now, you know, 200,000 downloads to iPod, an advertiser would be happy to have that, specifically to the demographic market. Yeah. You know, 13 to 25-year-olds are very hard to get a hold of. Additionally, like you said, we've had almost 1 million views in 6 months. So every 30%, every month we go up another 30%. We are profitable. We're making money already. So that's our position right now.
Very cool.
Thank you.
What's the mobile play?
Pardon?
What's the mobile play?
The mobile play. Could you define it for me? Because actually, you might have lost me in your
So
question.
when I
Make it
was
easier for me as a content guy.
when I was at MCube, I did a lot of the action sports deals
Right.
with Boost and Amp.
Okay.
We put together and helped a company called Ignition. So Ignition.tv, definitely check them out. They went out and licensed about 180 of the top manufacturers and did exclusive deals.
Right.
And they have like Danny Way and PLG and Burnquist and all the top writers.
Right.
You have a very interesting model where you can help and produce content for B2C sites like an Ignition,
Right.
where they're the ones that have the connection and the distribution points and all the carriers. So I like your model again,
Right.
but I think it's like a B2B, right,
Yes.
where you can hit all these. Action sports is huge in the industry and is becoming very crowded as well.
You're absolutely right, and the concept would be is that I know a lot of producers want to hold their content close to their vest. I think the idea now is to spread it out all over the web.
Totally.
I mean, if I can put, I have a contract with YouTube to develop channels for them in my. But I still have my own little YouTube site where I just blast video out. So in terms of how much video I have out on the web right now, I don't even really know how much of it is out there. But all the social sites have my content, the MySpace, because what we do is we just attach an advertiser to one of those clips, and I can show, listen, here, 1 million people have looked at this or downloaded it. So
I like it. You become more of a clearinghouse, because people are looking for that. It's like take the record label stand where you own big catalogs of content and you license the product out to all the others that are spending the marketing money to touch the consumer.
Yeah, it's close to, that was on him, right? Okay, sorry.
Jeez.
I absolutely agree. I mean, I think, we actually have an investment called Revision 3, which is, sort of more tech focused, but it's very similar in terms of either semi-professional, professional produced content, mass distribution. You have an audience, very targeted audience, which you can, apply advertising to, and advertisers love it because you can segment very, in great detail. And so, for you, I think it's really sort of, getting that core audience around your content, being known as sort of the place to go for that specialized content, and then just spreading it, far and wide.
Again, you're right. That's part of the reason looking for venture capital funding is we know that our growth is to be through, marketing and advertising and targeting, companies and businesses and consumers that specifically look to this type of content. I mean, we do through our own events, and those events across the country, we have 30 events, so we do close to maybe 800,000 spectators. So, obviously there's a lot more people out there that are into extreme sports, but you can only get to a certain amount with a finite, budget.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's big business.
I'd just say 3 things real quick. I mean, it's the right demographic. Everybody's trying to nail it. Nobody seems to be doing a great job with it. But my 2 concerns are, 1, I think the space is very crowded. And 2, I think the ad model right now is a little bit overhyped in the industry, and I think that I live it every day in my space, and agencies aren't ready for it. Clients say they're ready for it. When it comes down to the actual buy, it's a little bit different. But I think I'd like to see you focus a little bit more on some of the subscription-based stuff from your site, and even look at some of the revenue models around mobile, because you get distribution in mobile with this content, and you could drive a pretty sizable business off of it just through mobile until the ad model kicked in a little bit better.
Thank you. That's good points.
Offline, let's talk. I want to introduce you to some people.
Okay, thanks.
Yep, thank you.
Hey, thank you.
Our next presenter is Mobidia and Gary Taus.
They tell me the clicker doesn't work, but it looks like it does, so that's great. So we make handset and server software for mobile carriers. Not really to go through this too much, but we've got a mixed team from Silicon Valley, and we're based in Vancouver, so it's really base station RF people from Vancouver and business and marketing management from Silicon Valley. focusing on video and the opportunity, especially since the carriers are our customers and they're motivated by increasing their ARPU through some video sales. They expect to see it. And really what we're focusing on is how do we make that last mile work well enough to do the things the users want. So they want interactive services and video. But today we're talking about all these great things. Browsing the internet's terrible on your phone. Maybe I have the only one that doesn't work, but it's not a great experience. And to expect that we're going to move up to video, we think you've got to do some more than just upgrade the speed of the networks. And the other problem is that all the plans from the operators are based on spending billions of dollars to upgrade their networks. The result is it makes the resulting services too expensive for the target youth market that they want. If you're going to go and upgrade, spend $1 billion on HSDPA, another $1 billion on IMS, it's very tough to offer $2 and $4 a month services for the people who really want them. So our approach is really twofold. We're using the power in the handset, the computing power in the handset, and also because we understand how the RF works, we get a lot better performance on what's going on. So what we've done is we call CU Buddy, a service to be launched by carriers that allows real-time handset-to-handset video. It's a see what I see. It allows you to show what's going on in your world to up to 4 buddies simultaneously. You also get to see what they're seeing. So if you could double click to launch that app for me, that would be great. The other part about this is we do it over today's existing network. So this works over GPRS or EVDA or whatever edge upgrade network you have. Excuse me? Could you double click and launch that? No, backwards, please. Just move the cursor over the window on the phone. Yep, double click it. Great, thanks. So we started out on Windows mobile phones. We're moving on to Symbian. What you're going to see, we're taking advantage of it, that fact that it's on the screen. You really just have to have something from your buddy list or your phone, from your phone book. You really only have to know their telephone number. And then what the other person on the other side sees is really an invitation to start this conference.
Hey, buddy, what's up? Nice to see you here.
So what you see is what you're sending, if you will. You can move those screens around, but you also see what your buddies are doing.
See, look, just
We're from
rain and
Vancouver,
dark.
so we complain about the rain all
Anyways,
the time.
I gotta get back to work. See ya.
Great. So if you could continue to click to the next screen. Oh, no. Maybe back one. Great. So we sell this to the carriers, really a extension of messaging more as real-time messaging, as opposed to video telephony, even TV, which they see in a different category. We're focused on the carriers here in North America and Western Europe. They hate dealing with startups, so we team with some of their existing integrators like OpenWave and HP, depending on how they see what we're doing. As I said, we start out with Windows Mobile, but we're moving on to Symbian, and really we can move on to feature phones, probably not the low-end ARM7, but certainly the ARM9 phones are fine with us. And really, this is a model for the carriers to sell this as flat rate, or for the prepaid guys as a flat rate with a usage cap, and then a reminder if you've used up your allotted number of megabytes of video to refresh. We can do a per minute, per call, which is sort of the old way. Thankfully, we haven't found any carriers who really think that that's a good model going forward. And what we do is license our software to the carriers for them to launch as a service. We've actually tried to resist going down the Handango or download, but we want to get the carriers with some skin in the game launching this because it can be a very high ARPU, high margin service for them. So thank you very much. Appreciate it. I think I made it before the bell.
All right, I'll start. Two things. I'm presuming you have parental control on, on this because I
So
can
yeah,
see
so that's the one of the two questions are: is there parental control, or is this an adult services application?
Yeah.
Yes, the answer is we can control the buddy list as to who you can include in these buddies, and it seems like it is a question that gets asked, but the lead carriers for us, I think, are more teen and adult oriented.
Well, so that means you're focused on the MVNOs, but as you get to the tier ones in this country, at least, it's gonna be a big issue. And then the second question I have is the pitch when you go into them, does it relate to basically decreasing network cost or increasing network efficiencies for them when delivering mobile video? Is that part of the pitch, or is it?
Right. So to the carriers, the issue is being able to launch this on today's without CapEx investment to get to video, which is where they want to get to in the end. The second part of this is that really this is sort of the Trojan horse for us. The end is fits into their advanced IMS framework, and what we're talking about is something they call IP bearer management service.
Yep.
But we're a startup, we won't live long enough for them to get there. So we know where we're going, but this is something tangible for them to do today. One of the things I should say is this sort of it's an invite in. You're not going to do this as social networking to people you don't know. The idea is to keep it within that tight group.
Yeah, just one question, I guess. Just out of curiosity, what's bitrate over the air in terms of being able to do that? What's Airlink bitrate?
What's the Airlink?
Yeah, Airlink bitrate.
So GPRS, we'll use GPRS or any of those, but what we're really doing is above IP, we're putting in a protocol that's very sensitive to what's going on in real time on the network link.
So you strip out frames as needed on a sort of a dynamic
So what we're
basis,
doing is
or?
we're not doing 15 frames a second.
Okay, right,
we're taking advantage of this, a very small screen. If you look at T-Mobile and their My Faves, they'd be happy to see it as that small sort of dime-like display. So we really take advantage of the fact that it's a small screen. We're not sending as many bits. And then as actually the transmission rate goes up, we're sending the frame rate up.
I think it's going to be really important. I mean, I think, back in the early days, pre-broadband and online, right, nobody really understood exactly why Akamai was so important until the network started to get clogged and people were moving heavy stuff all over the place, and you had to have these optimization CDN networks. And I think both what you're doing, I think, in Ortiva, are the types of people trying to do this edge, caching, or it may not be exactly the technology, but optimizing for that. And I think, I was pleased to hear you say, I think not to be confused that it's a service versus the underlying infrastructure. I understand you're inserting with a app to get traction, which I think is smart, but there's a point at which you're going to tack back to a horizontal IMS layer, right? So as long as one does that.
We're old network infrastructure guys, but because of that, we know we need something early.
It's cool, very cool.
If the carriers don't bite off on the licensing part of your model, can this be achieved through a downloadable application?
You can do downloadable application, and while we focus on the carriers, we found that the other guys who've got a lot of content, the other interest here is the Googles of the world.
And can you do moderated chat with this product?
We include, there's texting along with it, but we didn't think of it as having a central moderator, at least in the beginning. I'd love to hear what your idea is.
You're always going to get this. There's a big opportunity here in adult, whether, it is what it is.
Are there specific handset requirements that are needed to run your client? And I guess tacked onto that question is sort of what's the penetration of handsets that can support this type of application?
Sure. So we start out with Windows Mobile because that's the easy one to get into, right? And without getting some carrier sponsorship, really can't get the Nokias and Samsung. So now that we've got a couple of trials going, we're starting on Symbian. Basically, what it comes down to is we're encoding and decoding simultaneously. There's not enough horsepower in the old style phones, what's called ARM9 processors, which are sort of in the next, after the S60 and that and above, are just fine. But you're not going to get into a proprietary OS or even into a big Symbian launch without some Nokia blessing going forward. For part of it, though, is we are focused on what we found is phones with keyboards seem to match well to this demographic as well.
Phones with keyboards match the demographic you're going after.
Yeah, that we found that some of the early adopters while they didn't see these as PDAs, they liked the keyboards for texting, and that sort of drove us looking at which handsets was to go at things where you didn't have to do the triple tap to type in something.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting application. Your last comment is interesting. I think a lot of this application would go to skew maybe towards a younger demographic, which wouldn't necessarily have those types of handsets. And so, you have sort of the mobile business professional like us who have sort of the BlackBerries and Trios.
So exactly. So it turns out that if you look at Amped, for example, they'll sell Moto Q. They don't do email. I mean, it's not an app for them. It just happens that that's a good phone for video and music. Some of the others, the same thing. It's really a phone that's powerful enough to do the other things the demographic wants. Then it's good for us. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Our final presenter today is Mojo Baby and April Jones.
Hey everybody, I know it says Scott Miller on the program, and he's our COO. He's over there. He's going to be helping me out with the technical part of our presentation, and then he'll be back up here to help with Q&A. So I'm here to tell you all about mojobaby.com, so we get that plugged in. So first of all, can the audience tell me how many of you have a camera as part of your cell phone? Can you raise your hand? Fantastic. All of you should be Mojo Baby users. What we do is we take advantage of the camera on your cell phone. So if we can go to the next one, Scott. So if you're anything like me, I got my cell phone, it had a camera, I was very excited, took all kinds of pictures, and they never went anywhere. They're sitting on my cell phone. Maybe I see a friend and I'm like, oh, you gotta see this funny picture that I took the other day. But I have a personal website. I don't go through the process of uploading it. I'm lazy, I admit it. So they sit on my cell phone and they don't go anywhere. We can go to the next one. So what Mojo Baby does is it allows you to instantly upload photos, videos, and text to in two different ways. The first way is through the Mojo Baby blog page. So this is similar to a lot of other blog sites you may have seen, but when you instantly upload your picture, for example, with text, friends and family can see it right away online. So let's say I've gone on vacation and I'm taking pictures of something funny I saw at the beach, or I'm in another country and I have some weird food that I just got at my table. I can take the picture right away, upload it to the website through MMS, and my friends and family back home can look at it instantly and see what I'm doing. This also feeds into the current trend that everybody's been talking about, where people want to be the stars of their own reality show. So, teenagers in particular want their friends and families to know what they're doing right now all the time. So I'm at the mall, I see a really cool jacket, I want to upload it to my website, tell my friends, hey, look on my site, see this cool jacket I found. It's all about bragging about what you're doing at this very moment. Okay, next one. So the second part of the Mojo Baby plan, though, is to have this player, this Mojo player that we have. You can customize the player with different colors and size and height. And what it does is it pulls your most recent photos from the Mojo Baby blog page into this player. And you can customize the size of the slideshow if you only want one line of slides. And we're working on other options as well for being able to use this player. The next one. So the player can go on any website. So if you already have a MySpace page, you already have a TypePad page, you already have a Blogger page, for example, you can integrate the Mojo player into your existing website. I have a personal website. It's just a generic website that I have my own URL, so I'm not through any of these sites, and it's on my player is on my front page. You notice the player, it's up there at the top. On this one, it's on the right, and on this one, it's the orange. So by changing color, by changing the size of the actual player, it can easily integrate into any site you may already have, and those photos, again, are instantly uploaded as soon as you send them from your cell phone. Next. So the service is free for users. Right now we're looking, it's in beta. We're getting ready to launch it officially in the next week. This is really our first public viewing of our program here. And we're looking for people to advertise on the player in particular, partners for distribution and whatnot, and we can also license out the technology as well, reskin it to your company's needs or whatever. So there's the basics of Mojo Baby. Scott, you want to come up for questions?
Could I ask, I mean, there are a number of companies trying to build upon photo messaging, like Tiny Pictures is another company trying to do that, right? And the Japanese teams, you know, Xiaomi was created at, you know, what was named Vodafone Japan was named J-Phone actually at the time, but how do you actually, do you differentiate over the long term because of community? Because, I mean, I would observe that the technology isn't actually that hard per se to create. So how do you differentiate over the long term? Do you build a and so there's a network effect, or do you add video over time, which does have some technology issues with it, or how do you stay in front of Tiny Pictures and everybody else?
Well, what makes us a little bit different is that we're not looking to replace current sites. We're looking to add functionality to sites. So MySpace has pictures and they have video hosting. We're not looking to replace it. We're looking to be something that's an add-on, so a user can, while they're out, update their friends. They can via SMS or email of any new content that comes through the site that way. As far as going forward, we're still really early in this, and I haven't given a ton of thought to how, you know, we're going to do this a year down the road or 2 years down the road.
Okay. Yes, he's forgotten some of his ideas already. I'll speak for Scott here for a second. So one of the ideas that the team has talked about is going a little bit more along the lines of Twitter, if you guys are familiar with Twitter. So, you know, adding that functionality in. So yes, it absolutely could be another social networking site, but the entire idea is about what I'm doing instantly. So Twitter is messages. So I'm out to lunch, I'm this and that. But we have the photo functionality, we have the video functionality. I mean, it's a whole greater interactive process, we think, is what makes it different.
There's other companies coming in the space. Rabble out of San which is Intercasting Corporation. So look at rabble.com. Also MyNumo, M-Y-N-U-M-O, and they have a different spin off it where community-driven people can go on site and sell their content as well. So they're offering ways to monetize my content as I'm putting up pictures and videos. So check them out. There's an online company called My Life Brand, which is kind of going past by aggregating your MySpace, your Facebook, and all your other social networking sites. So there's a lot in the market, right? In MySpace and Facebook, they're all coming in the market as well, and they have huge engineering teams and work with companies like my old one, VeriSign, that are building huge platforms for these guys. So definitely first to market, get it in quick, and cause some disruption immediately and get some user base.
I mean, I agree with you. I think there's a interesting trend these days about sort of real-time updates of what you're doing, or even live casting. So there's companies like Justin TV and Ustream who are doing sort of real-time video about whatever you're doing or whatever conference you're at. I do think the space you're going into is very, very crowded, just in terms of the pictures, and so you're going to have to find sort of an angle to differentiate yourself on, because there's, I mean, I think I've seen about 10 companies who are trying to create social communities around uploading pictures from your mobile phone, and so you need to think about it sort of a little bit differently.
Can I actually add something real quick? Sure. One of the features that we're actually looking at adding is RSS feeding from other sites. So we become just a connect the dots kind of site for all of the content you're doing across the web, not only just from your phone, but for your blog, for your Facebook, your YouTube, Flickr, those sort of sites. So you can actually feed that in. As you do that on the other site, it's automatically fed into our site and then to the player, to your MySpace. Without having to think about multiple steps, you can actually update content across the internet.
Yeah, and maybe there's a play where, you know, you could either upload it to Mojo Baby and that feeds into Rock You or Slide, or people who already have a footprint on some of those social networks, you know, to sort of feed in, do the mobile part that they can't do yet.
Yeah, we're really looking at not saying this user who comes to our site is ours. We're looking to feed our users to the sites that they want to go to. along that way as well.
It's a good model. Check out My Life brand. I mean, it's a good partner for you. You're going down the path too, but on broadband, but not mobile.
I just say, once again, I'm just concerned about the business model. I think going down that advertising route is going to be a tough one. It's very early. I think you guys should be looking for some very key strategic partners very soon and just, embed yourselves as best you can. I mean, I think you're a great acquisition for somebody that's looking at things like this, but that would be my focus.
Disruption.
Yeah.
Cause some disruption. You are an acquisition.
One of the things that we are actually looking at right now is we've created partial functionality for radio stations so that they can have their users come and create their own version of the site. They can update their users from live demos. They're at the bar, they're at their whatever live broadcast. Cool. Also send out SMSs to their users that way too. So we're looking at a lot of licensing to not only just our user base, but also the revenue stream as well.
Infinity. Yeah. They're looking for a solution.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, well,
thanks, everybody.
Very much.
And vote for us at some point.
Thank you. Is Sony Ericsson in the room for the next presentation while we talk about voting? Are you here? Great. Come on up, please. Why don't you come up while you get ready? So here's what we're going to do. Thanks. First of all, let's give a hand to our judges for their great feedback today. Our presenters. We are going to now vote. Once again, your instructions. Pretend you each have $1 million of fun money and cast your vote. And the winner will receive a prize and an award from iHollywood Forum. We're going to get the results right after the Sony Ericsson presentation, so stay in your seats, and after that we'll announce the vote, the winner, and also we'll be announcing the winner of the Limbo. So you still have time to vote for Limbo, where you can win a high-def TV by picking the lowest number. So I'd like to now introduce from Sony Ericsson, Victor Friedel, Content Acquisition Manager for Music for Sony Ericsson, with a cool demo. Hey, you can take it off the stage. You can leave the stage. Thanks. All right. We've got if you don't mind staying there, I want you up here when we announce the vote. Sure. Is that all right? You can sit down there. Slide it on the side. You're all ready? Okay, great. Cool demo. Cool presentation.
Can you use this one?
Help yourself. Wireless or either one?
I'll take this one. Did it work for you? Great. I don't know about the cool demo though. My name is Victor Friedel. I'm working at Sony Ericsson. Happy to be here in LA, based in Sweden, where our global office is. Well, music. Does this one work? Mobile music is in 9 minutes. Basically, the music industry today, quick slide, interesting regions that we are looking into, load up, how to get everything on the mobile, and then maybe some Q&As if you have them. Well, I don't know if anybody from the music industry is here today. Do we have anyone? Great. I guess you're in trouble. Well, the music industry today, I used to be part of it, and I'm still a part of it, and I love it. It's just that it's struggling to find its way in this new world that basically everything wireless is creating for it. There are more music than ever. You can access the music from anywhere, and obviously to find the business model that suits each region in the entire world, that's going to be a big. But yeah, well, it's a big challenge, and there are really good examples where the mobile industry has done this, and just to mention, one of them is actually Robbie Williams, that has sold gold and platinum all around the world in the mobile space, and not in some countries actually didn't even sell a single album, or maybe one or two, but he sold like 70,000 albums on mobiles, preload, download, sideloaded, and it's a good example. The mobile music world today, well, you have to excuse me now, even though we're in the US, where at least us, Sony Ericsson, has had really good successes, you know, in the Nordics. It's a small circle, but it's a small population. But it's interesting because mobile music has been sort of the driver for the 3G systems in Norway, Sweden, Denmark, and in Finland. It's a lot of interesting showcases or business cases here that I think that you should look into if you're interested in this. But what's even more interesting is actually a closer region to you guys is South America, or Latin America as we call it. That's one of our big regions for music. In Latin America, it's just going crazy right now, at least for us, and I know for a lot of other manufacturers. We have had, you know, issues with the systems, or the operators don't be supporting the 3G networks in all these regions, so we preload a lot of music, and that has worked out well, especially for Robert Williams. But I guess that in the near future, you know, you will see it in Mexico in a couple of weeks, and I think that over-the-air downloads are going up. And the interesting part with the regions that I'm bringing up now, like China and India, where you have, you know, everybody knows this, there's so many people there, and the primary access to the internet or to your, not everyone has a home computer, not everybody has a DSL or high-speed internet access at home, but not everyone today, but soon enough, everybody will have a cell phone in their hand, and that will be the primary access to internet, but also to media, which is even more interesting, because this will be your call it your PDA, it will be your digital audio player, it will be your telephone, obviously, but that's why these regions are so interesting, and I think that the music industry is not really seeing this today. They're focusing a lot on the US, and because it's a ringtone market, and then you have the Western world, but in all these Western world and US, you have the internet connection, and you see the problems with piracy, you see the problems with file sharing. In some cases it's good, but in some cases it's really ruining the industry. The two regions here, I don't know if I put them correctly, but Japan and South Korea is obviously way in a lot of senses when it comes to mobile music, and well, it's different business cases, but it's interesting to see that once they launched, they really, you know, got a throughput, even though you have the high-speed internet access. So I'm sort of saying a contradiction to myself here, but it's the way that it's more localized markets than the rest of the Western world. Yeah, well, Africa is basically the big question mark. We know that the number of subscribers are going up fast, not as fast as in India and in China, but when it comes to mobile music, nobody really knows. South Africa has had some success with it, but will this be the audio player that people will use? Will they bring it to each other's homes and connect them to the stereo? Or because there's not a lot of CD sales in Africa, I can tell you that. Load up. How to get everything. You know, this is the toughest thing for us as a phone manufacturer. How to get people to load up music to their phone. And obviously working a lot with operators here, or the really good business innovators, where you have a store, you can have it in some cases over the air or side-loaded, or both. In an ideal world, this would work, but everybody knows that also working with the music industry, you have a lot of obstacles on the ways here. So it's not really easy to do all of these things. This is probably a utopia in some cases. we're trying out this now this summer in the Nordics. Some other companies has tried it, and it's really interesting to see how kiosks are growing, and it's been hard, but to do with previously because of the licenses from the music industry. I think that this is changing. We will see a lot of these coming up on airports, and especially in markets where you don't have high-speed internet access. They could be connected to the internet, so they are live. They could be, you know, standalone with basically a big hard drive inside, and not only music, but you know, content. When you look on upon movies, for instance, the over-the-air download for movies, even though you have super 3G networks, Wi-Fi will take a lot of time. So to sideload it from a kiosk before you go into on your flight or to a train or something, that could really work for you. So we're seeing, you know, a lot of different content types, games, applications. You know, applications is quite hard to sell through the actual telephone, because you buy an application that maybe costs you maybe 40. Sometimes you don't want to, you know, enter all your information into the cell phone, and once you do that, you miss some box or something. It's much easier to do it in a better, more where you're familiar with the system. This is like buying online, but it's not. You wouldn't probably get exposed to it on your PC at home, but this is a good promotional space as well. So I think we will see a lot of kiosks this next year. 2 minutes. Well, I guess thank you then, and have some questions if you have them. I see no one, so music industry. Sorry, one. The question was what's the best content opportunity that Sony Ericsson has for the music industry today? I would say I am, so talk to me. Okay, great,
thank you very much. Let's have a hand. Our judges will come back. So to make this fun, we've asked each of the judges to tell you which company they would give $1 million, which is great for the companies presenting, because you may want to talk to the judges later and see if they brought checkbooks. And then we are going to show you the results from the audience to see whether the audience agrees with the professionals, and we'll announce the winner. So first we'll start with John. Tell us who would select and why.
I'm going to break it down into a couple categories, right? So you have entertainment plays and you have pure technology plays. From an entertainment play, you know, I really like what the FFMI guys are doing from a studio standpoint. I'd love to talk to you guys later if you're still out there. And from a technology play, you know, I really like what Michael's doing. I think he's figured out something that the market continues to think a barcode's going to go on a handset. Now it's just boiled down to form and function and getting people to adopt the form.
I think from a technology standpoint, I really like what the Mobidia guys are doing. You know, I think this is solving a problem that the carriers can't solve in a timely fashion. And so, you know, I definitely think that technology is pretty unique. From a content side, I really liked what the ClipX guys were doing. I think that is a very favorable demographic that they're going after, and I like the fact that they were tying it to offline media as well. And so I think, you know, if they can, you know, garner a large audience around that specific vertical, it'll be very attractive to someone looking up to roll content.
Content, I liked what FFMI is doing. I think if they've got the right executive team, they'll do some great things over there. But I think I would have given, between Mobidia and B-Code, I think that what B-Code's doing, if they can get into the licensing of that software and that solution, I think I would hand it to them.
You know, my take is consistent with Michelle's. I'd say from a technology perspective, and then from a content perspective, iClipX. many years ago, we invested in a company called Quokka Sports that in the broadband era was essentially trying to do some of the similar, not covered by ESPN sports and trying to bring that out into the marketplace. And at the time was not right for that. Broadband didn't really exist, broad scale, et cetera. Potentially the time is right for it now. I think you got to connect the circle still. I think there is a user-generated part of it, but I thought that was quite interesting. I think Mobidia is solving a known problem that exists in video, and I think, selling to operators is a bit of a headache, but if you break through, you can, monetize well on that.
Thanks. So we'd like to first thank our sponsor, Moses, for sponsoring and hosting the MSS messaging. And now David Ng, who many of you know was the conference manager for this event and helped organize it, is going to announce the winner and present the highly coveted iHollywood Demo Award, which also includes a free ticket to the next iHollywood conference of your choice. We couldn't get American Idol tickets, so we gave you the next best.
Thank you, Zahava. And again, thank you to our panelists here and all the presenting companies. Hopefully everyone here enjoyed it. We're going to be featuring a full-length Venture Summit July 17th in the Bay Area. So if you like this format, you can look for us in a couple months. But at this time, we do have a winner. It was not a unanimous vote. It was a very close decision, both from the comments from the judges as well as the audience vote. But the winner for the Mobile Entertainment Summit demo is Famous Frames Mobile Interactive and Mark Miller. Mark, you want to come up and accept the award? Mark, you want to? So,
All right, thank you. And we're now going to have our networking break. We have ice cream, soda, coffee, and drinks in the expo hall. Again, fill out your forms for 3 stars, because at the end of that, we are going to announce the Limbo winner for the high-def TV. Everyone can enter the Limbo contest, but actually when you have to turn in your expo hall with 3 stars, and we'll resume. We'll start the next session 15 minutes late, so we'll resume the sessions at 5 o'clock, and then we'll have the focus group.
That'd be a good ice cream flavor.
Red Bull ice cream?
Red Bull ice cream. Red Bull ice cream. Come on now. It would sell. I'm all about following.
Thanks a lot. Thanks, David. Thanks for having us.
Hopefully I'll have you back.
Yeah, in July. Totally open for it. It was good to meet you.
nice.
Yeah, we should stay in touch.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. I heard you started talking about Quattro Bridge. We talked to Andy and Green as well.
Yeah, we're going to work with them, and we'll talk also about our team.